You with this current appointment, you did say you were going to focus on the revival of portable pipe water, like we used to have in days of old. And we just look at the budget for your ministry, 211.7 billion. So yeah, we
Two what?
211.7 billion. I think I'm correct.
Sure.
From what we saw there, so I am not the maker of that document.
211.7 billion. 211.7.
Yes, that was what we saw just now. I don't know what.
That's 211 billion.
So I'm not the maker of the document, but that was what was given to us from the president. It's okay. So probably in the
cost of the entire budget is of 600.
So maybe during the course of this, you may be telling us the correct figures. So where are we here, Honorable Commissioner?
Well, first I want to thank you for finding it necessary to be here in my office, the office of the Honorable Commissioner for Energy and Water Resources. What you are doing here today is giving us a voice such that we can reach out to the Edo people under the direct supervision of Mr. Governor, who was given the mandate to lead Edo and provide, particularly in all sectors of this state, what the people necessarily desire. Energy and water resources as a ministry stand on two legs. Although two legs are very essential to our day-to-day living, without which life can be seen as nasty and uninteresting. That tells you how important it is. I'm a Christian. In the creation story, I'm well seized of the fact, as presented to us by the Holy Book, that in the beginning the earth was without form or void. There was darkness, and the Spirit of God was moving upon the water. And He said, "Let the earth be light." Water and light were there from the beginning. They were seen as very important. Therefore, you take cue from this biblical allusion, it leads you to one direction, that anyone who wants to prosper in life, any nation who wants to prosper, state who wants to prosper, the first thing to seek for is light. Light brings orderliness, and that is why this government recognizes the importance of power. As Christian as energy today, together with the fact that water is so essential to the well-being of human beings. Although this ministry can stand on different legs and still be big enough as a ministry, but assigning responsibilities to anybody lies strictly on the table of the governor who has a mandate. He knows when to use and who to use for what responsibility and whatever. All he needs is results. Our track records speak for us. I don't know here, the Ministry of Energy and Water Resources before now, in the last administration of Comrade Adams Alishun, who is the then governor, and also the Ministry of Education. So my records are there. And relying on those records, we saw the need to be moved on board. I'm here. I'm here to do one thing: identify, raise them, deal with them, and put them behind me. If you know the problem is not solved. I've seen the problems, the gap between what is and what ought to be. So finding that gaps, it's not only a problem, I found it. What we need to do now is to build a bridge between yesterday and today, so that we can have good access to tomorrow. So when I came, I hit the ground running and I visited Adams, Waterworks. I saw the gaps between what government used to be in the early 70s and 80s. We probably didn't participate as much, particularly with the 70s and that, but we're ready about them. Maybe at 80s, still early enough in our age, we didn't quite understand what was going on, the role government was playing. But what was good enough that is still very fresh in our memories today is that we used to see that pink truck, that blue, dark blue copy, where you had the drawing, the sign of a running tap. And today we have come to know that that's what they call the bill, public utility bill, particularly for services rendered to you for water consumption. There are rates. We grew up and we discovered that it vanished. And when it was vanishing, we didn't know how soon it vanished, and perhaps looking back, if you ask me when exactly was that, we can hazard a guess, but we can't be too sure because we didn't notice that it was going, because we never thought it could leave. So where we are today is that because nature abhors vacuum, and it is instinctual in every man to find ways and means of surviving, therefore, man, as a sophisticated machine, is only looking for solutions to problems. And because water is very necessary for man's survival, men have gone in search of finding their solutions for themselves. And that has led to the digging of boreholes. And what that means is that creating another problem like the proliferation of boreholes here and there. I'm worried about it because it seems that sector is largely left in the hands of non-state actors. However, limited in terms of policies, even where there are policies, the follow-up such that you can give the policy or the policies a bite is also there. So I'm worried about it. Okay, nobody does soil sample, nobody does text. What is happening beneath the air crust, we don't even know. By reason from the air crust, we don't know what is happening. But I'm worried while we're looking at that. I think every government is aware of the role the government is supposed to play in terms of providing water for people. And because government over time, are not doing that, they tend to leave it unregulated, thinking that he who must come to equity must come with clean hands. If you want to regulate the process of people or citizens providing water for themselves, which is supposed to be your corporate responsibility to the people, then events are that there will be a moral burden on your conscience that you are not giving, people are giving, and you are attempting to regulate it. Where's your conscience? However, when conscience begins to play a role and puts a hammer on you, that creates that gap that you seek to cover, even widening it more. The truth is that things will go even worse. Unregulated water extraction from beneath earth crust, for me, is dangerous. It is not an excuse that government is not providing, therefore, government will not regulate. Government has to regulate while seeking ways and means of also, fixing its own responsibilities to the people. Now, if not for any other reason, because, the road to or access to finances is something that the government, or some national governments must think of. How do we make more money, get more income, whether internal or foreign direct investment that will expand our financial frontiers such that we have enough capital to invest in other sectors. Water is the gold and can be the gold of any state, because consumption comes with a cost. Consumption comes with a cost. And for our people, if they find any provider who can give them regular water supply, good enough for human consumption, the type that nourishes, not the one that will just quench the taste, because there's a difference between nourishment and quenching the taste. Nourishment is the one that will contain all essential vitamins and minerals for the body, good enough for the survival of the human internal organs and even the outer layer of your body. Okay? That leads to long life, more efficiency, healthy environment, and all of that. Longest life expectancy ratio longer and all of that. Now, if we all this is done and they are sure, and the right amount of chlorine is there in the water, devoid of the presence of lead that can cause several complications to the liver, kidney, and even some other internal organs of the body, even the brain, you will know that people will pay for what is good. Now, government must seek to do that. And that is what we're already designing. Yeah, the more a society grows without proper planning, the more complications you're going to have when you're trying to bring in new things. For instance, providing water, okay, for a system. Because there are no passage or passages as it is today. You have to bring down houses, you have to destroy infrastructure, public infrastructure already created by government, like the roads, and because you have to dig and create bigger holes, beneath the earth, so you lay them. That will destroy a lot. So government doesn't have enough, not to talk of destroying the little that you already have. Therefore, they tend to overlook it and just continue. But my recommendation is this, that although we have identified that these are problems and it will attract extra cost, however, you can play around it. You put it in clusters, communities in clusters, okay? And you build a water reservoir for distribution within, when I mean clusters, not just a network now for the entire state or entire central district or entire local government as it then was. What it is that a few streets, okay, with a couple of houses, maybe 100, maybe 200, or maybe 300, certainly not more than 500, will be much easier to control, and the piping or reticulation will also be much easier to get this water down. If we reticulate it in clusters like that, before you know, the entire city will be covered. Okay, that is the best way. That is the best way to go. It will create jobs. It will create more revenue. Okay, for our system. So that's what we're already doing. In terms of looking at the books and creating, a system strong enough to accommodate the gaps between what is, like I said before, and what to do. So we're not confused about what we are supposed to do. Okay, we will do it. There was no structure like this before now, but we are very conscious that this is the best time to do it. The second best time would have been yesterday. However, we are planning it and we are going to do it by the grace of God. Now, like I told you, we have other dams and water facilities still existing. I have visited them. I have seen how dilapidated and neglected they are. And I think, and we have resolved that something has to be done to revive them. When we are seeking to do the bigger ones, the small ones that we have now, we must bring manifest intention to it by doing it the way it is. He that is faithful will also be faithful in much. Be faithful in little, you be faithful in much. So when people begin to see what you're already doing, it gives hope. That this is a radical departure from what you used to be. Therefore, this is an administration that's clear-headed, and I'm sure something good will be done with this regard. So we're bringing hope, we're bringing confidence. Okay? Not just the one that's not on the table, the one that is palpable, you can touch it. Okay? And all of that. So for me, we are committed to that. I have also seen, because I saw when I was there before, that most of these things we call pure water, whether bottle, whether sachet, is just scam. It's just scam. If you see where they produce them, according to the Bible, if God opens your eyes to see what is on the ground, you will be scared to put your feet on the ground. Yeah. I relate this story with that. If you see what they produce and how they produce it, you will not drink water. I'm telling you. It's doing no harm. Go and look at our life expectancy ratio today. The life expectancy ratio from state to state varies, country to country varies. I am telling you, the life expectancy ratio of an average Nigerian is between 45 and 60 years. That's 45 and 55 years. If you get beyond that, well, it is lost. Life should not be a game of luck. It's not a poker. Do you understand? It's something that is calculated to keep you in existence, create and recreate in terms of procreation until you are old enough and the system begins to weaken. Death is far if you do not consume what is injurious. If you drink water that is injurious by reason of poor production that doesn't take into account, all of this essence of drinking water, it's harmful. For every wrong water you drink, bad water you drink, you are dying slowly. And that is the truth. 75% of the human body is made up of water. Whether the brain, whether the bones, it will surprise you to say bone, how can there be water in the bone? If you shrink it, the reason why the bone is fat is because there's water. The moment you leave it over the years, it shrinks. Okay? Why is it shrinking? Because the water is out of it. It cannot stay just the way it is. So, for me, even broke the bone of a chicken or cow, try to suck it. From the marrow, you see it's a liquid, mass of liquid. From within the tiny holes in that bones, you find out that oil is coming out, and that oil is made up of water. It's simple logic to tell you that. Now the heart is made up of water. The numerous gallons of blood in the body is water. The brain is water. The skin, which is the largest cell in the body, is made up of water. Okay? I'm not a scientist, but I just have little knowledge about some of this stuff. So, and when you find the greatest poison that must be avoided in water production is lead. Very high pH, dangerous to the bloodstream. Very low pH is dangerous to the bloodstream. An average pH that is acceptable is 6.5. Anything more or lower is dangerous. Now, when you have lead in water, it is the greatest problems you can be invited to your brains. Your kidneys will be shut down, your liver in trouble, your heart in trouble, the blood is contaminated or poisoned. Death is imminent. Every day people drink this. Why will life expectancy ratio not be low? The greatest sponsor of even the blood pressure by research is tied to pure consumption of poor, unhygienic water. So a lot comes from there. The greatest killer is not what they call malaria here and malaria there. No, it is what we consume. Even the medication you take, you're also using this water that is not pure to consume it, and it's just there. It's just there. So I've set up a task force. They're already there, like I did the first time. But from next week, I'll be going to the street by myself because I do, the policy of who will die with that. The moment those you set up to go, they get there. Sometimes they compromise. I experienced it when I was in the Ministry of Education. Whenever I asked them to go, I did not see anything wrong. They come out with a report that is so clean. I said, this is not true now. I have been seeing this, and that's why I set you up. I didn't argue. One day, I followed them without them knowing. And what I saw was amazing. Yeah, what I saw was amazing. So I will start that by next week. Sometimes when you are free, I will invite you so that we embark on it together. Because we need to help our people. Ignorance is the worst, that can happen to us as human beings. So, and the other leg, which is power, if you notice, go out by night, the entire Benin, or capital, or local government headquarters, dark. Very dark. You see, there are things we must not be comfortable with. There are things we must not be comfortable with. I am not comfortable with such things. I'm only looking across, crisscrossing the lens and breadth. And I've seen what the problems are. Sustainability is the problem.
Yeah.
It's not that you don't find the poles are there. Those were well conceived, by former governments or administrations as it were. However, what happens, even before they leave, you start noticing darkness. The cost of power, diesel, is astronomical. The cable theft, by this vandals, this convergence, is alarming. So there's a whole lot militating against it. Now, government must do either of two things. One, get a system that can protect those cables day and night, especially when they can't do this during the day. Then you must get a patrol team, along your cable lines to ensure that they are protected. Get cameras. But how can camera work when you also don't have power? But this day, because of technology, there are solar panels, solar cameras. They don't need to be connected by wires. You just put them there, you will see who's doing what. And when you find those extracts, you must also have courage to deal with it accordingly. So, I spoke with the governor yesterday. The government is also worried about this darkness and is in a hurry to stamp it out. Very soon you will be seeing some of these changes. We're also engaging BBC to see that we are able to give power to our people, more reliable power to our people at a more affordable rate. And with the unbundling of power sector these days, that has given power to the state, to give license to intelligent investors in the power energy sector, the buck stops from this table to now issue license to them. the era of going to Abuja to get license from NEC is over. So the new legal regime now is that they come here, request for it, we assess them, when we find them worthy and liable, we issue those licenses to them. So there's a whole lot, radical, that will create a radical departure from what is what used to be, such that we can have a more reliable system. Okay. We're also looking at the options of encouraging investors, to invest in solar, renewable energy, particularly solar. And just like I mentioned in water, we're also looking at that for the renewable energy for clusters, to develop solar farms for our community. Maybe 200 homes, 400 homes, 500 homes connected to a mini grid, and it's metered. Yes. It's very good for investors. Okay? Yes. Yeah. So those of you, I'm also telling you, if you know them, tell them that there's business opportunities here in Edo, and they should come here. We will welcome them, we will encourage them, and we will ensure that the environment is good enough for them to apply their trade. All we are interested in giving Edo people jobs, providing security for Edo, and we need regular power supply, particularly at night, to ensure that security is massive. But I can reassure you that the governor, Senator Monday Okpebholo, is committed to delivering on the mandate given to him by Edo people. Like yesterday he said, before you know it, 4 years to join the over. He's a man that is in a hurry to do, give meaningful recognitions to what he promised the Edo people. He's in a social contract every day. Time is running out. I share his dreams and I share his vision, and of course that's why I'm here, to add my little knowledge to enrich the mandate given to him by Edo people.
Honorable, you painted a very...
Just a minute.
Okay.
In short, we are not disappointed. We know that if we give you the chance, we will apply.
There are better ways, there are safer ways, to bring water from beneath the earth crust to the surface without exerting too much pressure, man pressure and losing time and losing the energy to produce what in a second the engine can bring to the surface.
So would you rather go for declaration of a state of emergency, the water sector?
Well, I don't know. That phraseology is something that excites people. You can do it without saying, I have declared state of emergency. What is state of emergency? The state of emergency is just saying it, that X will be done because you have identified that there is something unpleasant, in a particular sector or in the entire state. That's it. And it doesn't end there. What it requires, the reason for declaring this is that you want to tell everybody that you want to face it, hook, line, and sinker. Yes. You don't need to declare it to do it. Just do it. Just do it. If you do it, people, okay, assuming you declare it and you don't do anything about it. Okay. So, wouldn't it be better? Don't say it, do it.
Just
and let the people see what you are doing, and let the people by themselves say a state of emergency has been declared. It appears to us.
Yes.
So people like bogus English that does not deliver in most cases. So that is it. Just do it. You don't need to. So for me, high voice sounding language, I'm a lawyer, yes, but those high voice sounding language, I don't recognize it. What I recognize is let your work speak for you. And this is our problem, is somebody who doesn't talk. It was an issue during the election. Mm-hmm. And I had the opportunity of asking people, who do you prefer? The one who talks and doesn't do, and the one who do.
Talk less too much.
Okay, for me, I prefer a man who does
talk less.
And I used, the biblical allusion of Moses and Aaron. Okay, everybody tried, they couldn't do it. But Moses was not gifted in language. Alright? But God found in him a worthy character, a soul who could deliver and all of that. So, doing has nothing to do with talking. Doing is an action word. And it must be distinct and separate from talking. In fact, people talk too much, don't do anything. Yes.
That talks and it.
See, statistically, I know. They will say, keep saying it. Don't stop talking.
Yeah,
okay?
That's faith.
And if you have a faith, yeah. But the Bible says faith without work is dead.
Yeah.
Give me faith. Give me work anytime. faith is necessary, but action, which is work, is relevant.
Work validates faith.
It's all right. Like I was wanting to ask you, you painted a very, very, very big picture that looks very threatening. You know, it looks scary, makes us look afraid of tomorrow. In the face of scarce resources, when we talk about the budget just now, we're alarmed. So how are you going to find the resources to push this action to reality as soon as possible? Because we're in a hurry.
Yes.
Well, let me tell you something. If you don't, my people perish for lack of wisdom. Knowledge, wisdom, they are intertwined. The word do predates, is a post word that comes before you after you have put your thoughts and you pen them down and you begin to remark, take the bus. I've just given you what a normal system should be like. Yes. This will tell you that we know what we want to do. Assuming you are interviewing me to give me a job, and I've just told you, because I listened to your colleague here, okay? He said, he looked at his books and said, all we were supposed to ask, you are virtually talking about everything in the swap. And then I'm sure if I was sitting in an interview to be interviewed and employed into your whatever, what you should bother yourself as an employer is, where do we fix him? I don't think he will say we won't get him. He has said a lot. Where do we get resources to now come into there? I will develop some of these things he has said that we never really thought it could be, because he talked about what we want. I also talked outside what we wanted to be relevant to the growth of this corporation. Therefore, we'll have a duty to look for this money to fix all of this. Okay? Now, the reason why it is like this is because this budget was hurriedly put together. See, we have a budget cycle of 365 days, 1 year. The governor was sworn in November 12th. Okay? The House, because of the Christmas end of year program, was about, we're going on recess. Alright? So it had 3 weeks to put all of this together. It is usually not the responsibility of a government that is coming to fix the budget. And budgets are made to be based on priorities, the priority of the government that is coming. There were areas that were major priorities which he couldn't touch because it was hurriedly put together by the administration that left, okay, in anticipation of the fact that the budget cycle will come, and if you don't do what you are supposed to do, it's a law. It means that spending should be stifled and become benefit. So it was prepared in that order, okay? Period of time. It wasn't necessary, but I mean, it's not possible. No, not that it wasn't possible. The understanding of what the budget was like and accommodating what he was coming with, was not there. Don't forget, when he was campaigning, he said to Edo people that I will invest in water. Huh? Because his sister, when he was 3, he went to the stream. The elder sister who took him to the stream died in that stream. Now, they didn't have water at home. That's why they went to the stream to get water. Okay? But she died in that water. Because that's when we know that's where they wash. That's where they also fetch. That river. But in the process when she was bathing, she consumed soda. You know the soda that we use, and it's very poisonous. When they rushed her home, she died. He now said, as a little boy, not understanding what life was going to be presented to him in the future, he told himself that when he grows, he's going to deal with water. Now, he grew to now understand that since it was river that killed, because they didn't have water running in the tap, therefore, for everything that he will live for, he will live to provide water. And he has been doing that as a private, investor and an individual. Until God blessed him, he now entered politics and he's still doing it even as a senator. Okay? And now, stuff that he will not do more. Okay. But I can tell you, the budget of the Ministry of Energy and Water Resources, particularly, is a little above 1 billion. With what we are saying now, it can't do anything.
They took combined.
I said it can't do anything. It's a ministry. Do you get it? It's a ministry. So But what is important is the commitment and the need to look for the money. The good thing is that it is a sector that encourages private investors, either through PPP, build, operate, and transfer, or what have you. So it's there. The offers are there. Okay. And investors are coming. They want to invest in our dams. Okay. I just told you that the buck stops here in terms of issuing licenses, operational licenses for power, Same goes for water. And they are reaching us. Okay. So, and we're going to encourage them more to come. All right. And more will come. So I think what is important is that you through your policy coalition, you are able to encourage people to come, protect them in the business, to give the best of services to the people. It doesn't matter who does it. If you were not providing...
You just said something that interested me. It captured my interest. You said investors are coming, want to revive our dams.
Yeah.
I want you to throw more light on that and give us, probably revive our hope. Because visually all dams in Edo State are dead. And the way they are, they see beyond redemption. They look beyond
those dams, particularly the upper dam. I think it never functions in the 70s. It's as bad as that. But when you see what men did in terms of vision, have you visited that place? Visit, you will see what was done in the past, and you ask yourself, how come we cannot maintain it if we cannot build it? There are several dams also working. Yes, particularly in the north. Jeremy is working, is providing water. But what they want to do now, with modern investors coming, they want to see how they can use one stone to kill two birds. Produce energy from that same source and provide water consumption for the people. I hope you know that dam is for power. Majorly, you can generate power from there. Yes. So what they're also doing, they want to see how they can generate power. Even this one here, this Boba dam, which is overall the same. Okay, investors have come to accept it, and they want to take it off so that they can produce water. Okay, and also provide electricity. Why we are encouraging all of them to come is this. There are two major sources of energy supply here. The DEDC and the USONO. And there's a price war, even with these two, there's already a price war. We will encourage more to come. Because the more they come, the greater possibilities of dragging down the price. Because competition will be there, options will be there. Okay, and when there are options, then it will force the players in this field to bring down the numbers, which is good, again, for the economy of the state and good for the final consumers, which is you and I. So we're encouraging.
Honorable, talking about encouraging investors, what are you doing to bring this? Do you go source for them, like some government administration used to do? Maybe you go shopping, and, I don't know. What is it?
It's a combination of everything. One, the first thing you need to do to even make your state attractive is to ensure that there's security in your state. There is no system that can thrive, no society that can thrive in the absence of peace, in the absence of security. What every investor is looking for is peace. The areas where they can do business and be able to repatriate their profits. That's exactly what it is. So when there's peace, there's orderliness. The infrastructures on ground are good enough for them to operate. It's the best place to be. What that means is that it is not always the case that you are the one looking for them. Because they are business people. Yes. They do their feasibility studies across Nigeria on the issue of security, areas where infrastructure in the state and all of that. They are looking at it and they are zeroing to that, okay, this is where we want to be, we want to put our investment. Some of them are coming by themselves. And because the world is a global village now, from their table in New York, in Japan, in Germany, in Russia, in China, they can look at it and be seeing what is happening here, what is happening in that state. Why is Edo different from Zamfara in terms of investment opportunity? Investment opportunity are there, but there's no peace, no security over there. We prefer to come to Edo. That's what is bringing them. You don't need to go. They are coming. They have your details. They are coming. Okay? But when you go for expos, you can also see them and you talk to them. Okay? Those that are not seeing you, you go and meet them, you talk to them, they will come. So both ways. Let the West meet the East and let there be a better Edo.
Let's have one last one, okay? So that we round up, because he said he was going to meeting.
Yeah,
so now, for us to round up, because there are so many questions we talked in eternity. So how soon are we expecting all of this to come to actualization, at least to begin to see that some of these things we'll be talking about are beginning to come to fruition? I don't know, begin to get hope revived.
But I just told you that some of them are already.
I want a time frame.
You can't put a time frame to an
maybe 1 more time, 2
no,
months.
You see, the reason why you force people to say when they say it's not realizable within that time frame because they just want to satisfy you. I'm not one of those. I don't do my things because people want me to do it. I do it because it is what is supposed to be done. I calculate, I plan, and I execute. Do you get? Yes. If you are in a hurry to cook soup because the man of the house wants you to cook soup, you may end up disappointing him and disappointing yourself. No matter what he's shouting, let him shout. Hunger doesn't kill when there's hope for food. By the time you come out from the kitchen, you will know that the time is worth it. I'm talking to the women. They understand what I'm talking about. Yes. Because the men are always in a hurry, okay, to have the soup set. Yes. But I assure you that with good conscience, we are committed under the leadership of one God through the governor of Edo State, Senator Okpebholo'S Edo. He's committed. If he were not, I will tell you. If he were not, I wouldn't be here. I'm telling you the truth. Because I want my name always associated with what is good. And that is my greatest strength. If you follow my trajectory, follow my history, you know, even when I was sent out after one election, the last administration didn't allow me access to the House of Assembly. The truth is that it did not change my content. Yes. Rather, I built on it and I became a thorn in the flesh of the university. Do you get? And for those who didn't believe that, we're doing the color, we're a fool, this or and all of that. It's not about naira and kobo. Life is not about it. It's about value. Yes. It is that value that we brought in, and the president recognized what we did. And by today, he can mention me by my first name as in Washington because of what we did. Only a few days ago, I saw a reviewer when she wrote, when the PDP from the House of Assembly did the count to represent. Yeah. Those who said what we did were wrong or was wrong at that time, as the strong supporter of the university, okay, she wrote, for the first time, commending the G14. I love that piece and I have to say it, that a man must be known for who he is and what he is. Okay? That these ones now are jumping, even when they receive 20 million naira every month, according to her. Yes. Okay? That whereas there were 14 lawmakers who won and were never allowed to come to the house, they were not receiving 1 naira. There was no persuasion, no amount of persuasion we persuaded them. They didn't leave their party. They were dedicated in their party. Yet they were not receiving salary. Not you that received 20 million. So she was not making a distinction and praising the G14 for having the tenacity of purpose, you know, committed to the spirit of the party. Okay? And what is right, just and fair. And I said, this to me is a certificate, and I'm going to hold it to myself. Especially coming from somebody who thought that at that time, okay, what we did was wrong, and all of that. So you turn around now, and you are now trying to say, in reality, what we did was right. So what I'm trying to say is that when you do what you do, when people talk, try to talk you down, it's not that they don't know who you are. What is aching them is that they don't have, you know, the resilience, the kind of spirit you have, the kind of courage you have to do the right thing you do. If there's one thing you know before, I have courage to speak truth to power, of course. I will not change. I'm comfortable with Mr. Governor, okay? I am comfortable with his antecedents. I know what he's doing. He has said it severally, and I believe him that he will do it. And I will partner with him to ensure that the do people, like I said before, get the best under the administration of Senator Okpebholo. I tell you, in 4 years, you'll be amazed what will happen in this state. The signs are already there. No, just look at it. The signs are already there. We must have the spirit or the courage to analyze. The first sign that you see that the system will succeed is the relative peace that you see around. Forget about the pockets of whatever. It will always be like that. Even the most advanced democracies where you have security network tight, America, it happens. However, when you see there is peace, when you pass through over here and you see what is happening there, it's a sign. It's a sign that something daring is happening. Okay? Just imagine the beauty that will bring to that place. The orderliness that will come to that place. These are the kind of things investors want to see. Why is Lagos like this? Why is Edo not like that? Why is Enugu like this? Why is Edo not like that? Once they begin to see signs of what is happening in Enugu, also happening in Edo, Lagos happening in Edo, it's okay, I think this guy is serious. We will come. Okay? And they will start coming. Are you hearing me? So don't worry. Pray for the governor. Pray for yourself. Okay? And let's benchmark him within the next 2 years of his administration and within the next 4 years of his administration. But I can assure you, Edo will be happy. That God sent us this man.
Amen. Thank you very much. Honorable Washington as
we appreciate you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And one last thing, that is like, you believe so much in God, you uphold the Christian faith in its highest level.
Oh yeah, I'm a Christian.
Yes.
I'm a Christian. You know, everybody, the press, like you people, they know that I'm a Christian.
Born again Christian.
Oh yeah, of course. So I like the fact that you asked. I'm only talking about God. If you don't know God, there's no reason why you should be here. I'm telling you. You know, I am not righteous. In fact, none is righteous. But within the life in me, I try as much as possible to note one thing. Just love my neighbors as much as I love myself.
Oh, yes.
Okay? So that's it.
God bless you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So it's nice having you here.